Join me as I dive deep into the controversial question: did welfare programs really create the rise of Black single mothers? Let's start with a number that's hard to ignore. Back in 1960, only about 20% of Black children were raised in single-parent homes. Fast forward to today, and that number has jumped to over 70%. Some folks point the finger straight at welfare programs, claiming they've played a major role in this shift. But is it really that simple? Let's talk about it and unpack the facts. The topic of welfare programs and their perceived impact on Black single motherhood has been a subject of heated debate for decades. Some argue that these programs have created a culture of dependency, leading to an increase in single motherhood within the Black community. Others claim that welfare programs are merely a symptom of deeper societal issues, such as systemic racism and economic inequality. When considering the relationship between welfare programs and single motherhood, there are two main camps: those who believe that welfare programs have actively contributed to the rise of single mothers, and those who argue that the correlation between the two is simply a result of coincidence or confounding variables. The first camp points to the increasing availability of welfare benefits in the 1960s and 1970s, coinciding with a rise in single motherhood among Black families. On the other hand, critics of this argument claim that this analysis oversimplifies the complex socioeconomic factors at play. They argue that factors such as urbanization, declining manufacturing jobs, and racial discrimination in education and employment all contributed to the breakdown of the traditional Black family structure. Moreover, proponents of welfare programs argue that they provide a necessary safety net for vulnerable populations, allowing them to access essential resources and services that would otherwise be out of reach. According to this view, the real issue lies not with welfare programs themselves, but with the systemic inequalities that make these programs necessary in the first place. Historically, the Black family structure has been shaped by a multitude of factors, including the legacy of slavery, Jim Crow laws, and ongoing systemic racism. The Moynihan Report, published in 1965, famously argued that the decline of the traditional Black family was a major factor in perpetuating poverty and disadvantage within the Black community. However, critics of the report argue that it oversimplified the complex issues at play and that its findings have been misused to justify punitive welfare reforms. In the 1990s, the Personal Responsibility and Work Opportunity Reconciliation Act, also known as the Welfare Reform Act, aimed to reduce dependency on welfare programs by promoting work and marital stability. However, critics argue that the act has had devastating consequences for poor families, particularly single mothers who are often forced to choose between poverty and unhealthy relationships. Furthermore, socio-economic factors such as poverty, lack of access to education and job opportunities, and racial discrimination have all played a significant role in shaping family structures within the Black community. One key insight that challenges common assumptions about the relationship between welfare programs and single motherhood is that in reality, the majority of welfare recipients are not single mothers. According to data from the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, the largest group of SNAP recipients are families with children, with the majority of these families having at least one working parent. Moreover, recent research has shown that the relationship between welfare programs and single motherhood is far more nuanced than previously thought. For example, a 2019 study published in the Journal of Marriage and Family found that access to welfare programs actually increased the likelihood of mothers forming and maintaining healthy relationships, rather than discouraging them from doing so. Additionally, data from the U.S. Census Bureau has revealed that the majority of Black single mothers are not recipients of welfare programs, and that the majority of welfare recipients are, in fact, white. These findings challenge common stereotypes about the relationship between welfare programs and Black single motherhood. So, when we ask if welfare programs created Black single mothers, the answer isn't as straightforward as some might think. Yes, welfare programs provided much-needed support, but they didn't create the challenges Black families face today. This is a layered issue, influenced by history, policy, and economics. Understanding this complexity is crucial if we want to have real conversations about how to support and uplift our communities. Now it's your turn. What do you think? Do welfare programs deserve the blame, or is there more to the story? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and if you're interested in learning more, check out our next video on how systemic issues like mass incarceration and economic inequality have impacted Black families. Let's keep this conversation going.
Support the channel. Subscribe, like, comment, and share.